All right, so today I'm going to talk about how to market yourself. And a good marketer always do one thing first. They market themselves. So next slide. So I would just like to introduce myself a little bit. Next slide. So I am the co-chair of I'm the CEO and co-founder of Spokeo. We're one of the leading people intelligence platform and identity platform in the United States. I'm also the new chairman of Southern California Monte, which is a leading Taiwanese American Technology and Science Association. And I'm also co-chairing the W3C CCG that creates open standards such as decentralized identifier, verifiable credentials, secure data storage, and so on. Next. I moved to the US at the age of 13. Next. I went to Stanford. And I double majored in electrical engineering and economics, and I later studied electrical engineering with a specialization in optics for my master's. Started Spokeo in 2006 because I couldn't find any other jobs. My optics professor told me one thing. His life lesson is that don't bet against silicon. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, dang, I'm not going to find a job, so I started a company. Next. We actually turned profitable around 2009. When you start a company, you got a new product out, you got some press, you thought you made it, but one of the things you learn is that there's other hurdles to cross, including, trying to keep the lights on, trying to monetize your audiences. So we almost ran out of cash once or twice, but we were very, very fortunate to find product market fit and turn profitable in 2009. And Spokeo today is one of the leading people intelligence platform. We organize about 16, actually now it's about 19 billion records, and we actually link them into about 600 million entities to help over 50 million users a month to search, connect, and know what they're dealing with. Our vision is to be number one. Obviously, vision should be number one. No one wants to be number three, right, in their vision. So number one in B2C, then B2B, and then ultimately achieve the dream of self-summer identity. All right, so that's me marketing myself a little bit. So now I want to talk about how do we market yourself, right, ourselves with STP. So how many of you guys here are marketing majors? Raise your hand. Oh, good. Do you know what STP stands for? No? All right. So STP stands for segment, target, positioning. Next. So segment is about how do you actually segment, right? Divide your audiences into different groups. It's kind of like finding dimensions, like kind of doing pivot tables, right, in Excel sheets. Trying to figure out how do you actually segment all your entire audiences into different groups. Next. Next. And then target is once you have those groups, you want to stack rank them. Because a lot of times when you do segmentation, you're going to have hundreds and thousands of segments. You cannot tackle hundreds and thousands of problems at once, right? So you want to figure out what you care about the most, prioritize them, stack rank them, and then pick the number top 2 and 3. Same thing with finding jobs. There's so many jobs out there. Right? Just talking about developers. I mean, there's so many flavors of developers. There's web engineer, there's data engineer. By the way, the two things are completely different. There's software development, engineering, and test. Now there's a specialization in data engineering called machine learning engineer. So there's all these different jobs, all these different available opportunities. How do you know which one you're going to tackle? You cannot be good at everything. You cannot be smarter than Einstein and then redefine E equal MC squared at the same time, like writing Shakespeare. So you cannot do that. So you gotta do targeting, stack rank for all the different opportunities and find what you like to do next. And then lastly, positioning. Positioning is about how do you position yourself to stand up from the competition. And that's actually the most important thing, in my opinion, in the STP model. Next. So I think the concept of positioning can be best embodied with what's called a positioning statement. And there's these 5 elements in a positioning statement. The first one is, who's your target audience, right? The second one is, what's your product category? What are you doing, right? Like, who are you? What's your product? And in this case, like, what kind of candidate am I? Am I a data engineer? Am I a UX writer? Am I a designer? Right? What's your benefit, user benefit? What kind of problems you can help solve? What's your point of differentiation? How are you different from other people in the same product category? And lastly, what are the reasons to believe? What are the 3 to 5 bullet points that justifies your positioning statement? So if you have a very, very good positioning statement about yourself, about your business, about your product, you tackle the positioning. And in my opinion, this is the ultimate essence of the STP model. Now let's talk about how do we apply STP in languages instead of just the marketing theories. How do I do that in real life? You got to harness the power of adjectives. Just add adjective in front of the noun. So noun is the product category, and adjective, right, is the modifiers that helps you clarify your point of differentiation and helps you narrow down and focus who your target audience is. So let's give an example. All right. So to start, ultimately you want to add adjective to the moment where you can call yourself the number one. So obviously I'm not the number one entrepreneur in the entire world. That probably goes to Elon Musk. Right? But that said, Taiwanese immigrant Stanford graduated product-focused entrepreneur in LA. I mean, sorry, I'm probably number one in that. So, so as you add a lot of adjectives and modifiers, obviously your target audience becomes smaller, but it also becomes more focused, and it allows you to call yourself number one. Now, so how do we grow that? So obviously, we don't want to be the little frog in the little pond, right? So as we scale, we just start removing those adjectives, right? So maybe as I become the number one Taiwanese immigrant Stanford graduated product-focused entrepreneur in LA, then I start removing the adjectives such as the product focus, and you start removing one by one, climbing that ladder. All right. Now, we explain how do we do it in languages. Let's kind of get to the theory a little bit and explain STP with math. Let me show you how STP model can actually create value and make money. So first of all, the essence of STP is to recognize that different people have different values. Different audiences have different lifetime value. They value different things, okay? Some people might like Rolls Royce. I think it's really ugly, personally, okay? So no offense, right? So some people will be willing to pay $300,000 and $500,000 for a car, but personally I wouldn't do that. That's okay. Different people value different things. In Chinese, someone says, right, there's a saying, 情人眼中出西施, right? Everyone thinks has that beautiful girl, right? Different beautiful girls in their eyes. And that's the essence of STP, is to recognize that different audiences and different people value different things. Next. So as you recognize that, you try to optimize the value, you will realize that to maximize value creation, to maximize profit, and profit is value minus cost. To do that, one of the best ways to do it is to identify high-value customers and low-value customers and remove the low-value customers. Don't be too greedy, okay? Don't try to patch the whole thing. Just focus on the top-value customers, and here there's some quick equations that I'm not going to go through, but ultimately, as you focus on your high-value customers, you can actually maximize your value. And the cool thing is, with today's new technologies, that helps you scale high-value customers. By removing your efforts in low-value customers and keeping only the high-value one, you can use things like lookalike audiences to grow that value even more. And that's the power of personalization. Next. So I think the key takeaway using this quick math exercise is that you gotta find your audience. It takes a while to find the people that value you. But that's the most important thing that you should do. You should not try to focus on converting your naysayers. There are some people who just don't like you. It's fine. That's chemistry, right? That's social chemistry. It's fine. Don't fixate about that. Focus on finding people who value you. All right. Next. So next, I want to talk about how does companies recruit. Next. So this way, you can actually understand how this process works. And there's a saying, Shen once said, right? Know your friends, keep your friends close, enemies closer. It's called 百战知己知彼，百战百胜. Right. So here I just want to quickly talk about how does companies recruit talent so that you can be better equipped with this information and knowledge so that you can find that dream job. So first of all, this is a recruiting panel. It starts with obviously the applicants, right? And there's a recruiting screen. And then later is an interview panel. So usually there's about 3 to 5 interview panels. And then the interview panels will gather around for what's called a debrief and scoring. And then they will do the offer and so on in the start. Next. The job descriptions that you see from big companies usually is not random. It's actually analyzed. And at Spokeo, we actually use what's called LinkedIn Talent Insights data. It has all the different skills, right? And all these skills are actually data standardized to Wikipedia definitions. And we leverage the skill dimensions, right? The popular skills for particular job descriptions to create job descriptions. Next. And then we actually use these interview skills clusters to design interview panels. So for example, for data analytics, right? We not only look for your business intelligence skills, data analytics, data science skills, but we also look for data engineering skills if you're actually looking for more senior positions. So these panels and these job descriptions are actually not random. It's not copy and pasted. It's actually done through extensive research. Next. So after you will go through the interview panels, the panels will come together, they will start scoring. The little secret is that you prefer to, so in the scoring process, you actually cannot score 0. You have to be +1, +2, -1, -2, okay? You cannot do 0. So the little secret is that you would rather have a bunch of +1s, they don't want to piss off someone too much that you should be -2, right? Because when you're a hiring manager, and there is a panel that's really, really negative on your candidacy, usually the hiring manager will not override it. But that said, the hiring manager technically has the final say. So even if all the interview panels is -1, the hiring manager can still make that decision for the hire. These are the different talent dimensions that when we're analyzing talents, these are the different dimensions that we look at. There's experiences, right? Knowledge, what you know. There's competencies, behaviors. So behaviors will be how's your communication skills and so on, so on, so on. There is also personality traits. We actually don't do personality traits at Spokeo, so we don't ask those questions, but these are the rough 4 dimensions. Previous slide, sorry. So these are kind of the interview questions that we'll ask, roughly mapped to those 4 dimensions. We'll ask what you know, and we'll give you some scenario-based questions, right, and behavioral questions. The best ones are scenario-based questions, actually. It's actually trying to figure out how do you solve problems. So if you're an engineer, a lot of times the company, such as Spokeo, will actually ask you to do a hacker rank test. Right? If you're a data scientist, you'll have to go through that as well. Those are scenario-based questions to test how do you solve problems. And we also analyze different channels. Just like earlier, what Dan Arkind, the CEO of JobScore said, referral actually does matter. Knowing someone in the company can actually increase your chance of getting that job. But obviously, referral is not the only channel. So for example, at Spokeo, referral is about 12%, right? And the industry average is about 20-something. So it's not the only channel, but that said, knowing someone, right, whether it's your very, very close friend or just a distant acquaintance, that little referral actually does matter. It can make a difference. So anyway, so these are the different interview tips I've created. So can't really see that, but first of all, you gotta apply for the right job, right? And you gotta add the right keywords, relevant keywords to your resume, because if you don't add them, then you will not get picked up by recruiters. Most of our job requisitions, it gets hundreds of applicants. So the hiring manager cannot read through all the resumes. So the recruiters a lot of times leverage ATS and so on, and they look for the keywords, right? So you gotta add those relevant keywords to a resume. But obviously, don't BS too much. Right? If you BS too much, you will get caught by one of the expert interview panels that follows the recruiting screen. So know your hiring manager is because he or she is actually the one who's going to make that final call. Developers should have GitHub. Designers should have portfolios. Now, if you don't have them, you're going to have big disadvantage. And lastly, keep in mind that there is no bad talent. There's only right or wrong fit, right? So if you get rejected, it's fine, just move on. Don't try to convert the naysayers. If the company don't value you, maybe it's just not the right fit, it's fine. Go find the people who's gonna appreciate your talent. Go find that border. All right, so in summary, I think just want to summarize. I think I talked quite a bit, like 15 minutes, 17 minutes. If there's only one thing that I want you to remember, just remember the SDP, segment, target, SG. Know what you want to do. Know your product category. Understand your target audience. Who are you trying to find? Who are you trying to connect? Add adjective. Differentiate yourself until you're number one. Find people who appreciate you and don't spend too much time trying to convert the naysayers. And lastly, as you become number one in your niche, remember to grow up by removing those adjectives. All right, thank you.
Thank you.